Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me this week. So this week I'm going to be unpacking some of the AI guidance that parents need to be aware of. So I get a lot of questions from parents about how do I, help my child with digital health and what do I do in terms of AI use. So if you're interested in hearing some ideas about how we can support parents with AI use with their children, then please keep on watching. Okay, so I released this AI and Education Parent Guide on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, and it actually generated quite a lot of buzz, which tells me that parents are in need of a guide, some support, and some advice. So I've got some statistics here, and I always like to put the source of where the statistics are from. So here we've got the rapid integration of AI across schools and university worldwide. 86% of students globally use AI. 60% of teachers integrate AI into their teaching. I've got the sources there. I always like to check the sources. And 83% of K to 12 teachers use AI for personal or school activities. So, there's a growing number of teachers and students, as we know. I mean, that's pretty high, 86%, 60%, and even 83%. That's quite a high proportion of teachers and students. So, how do we guide our children as parents in terms of AI use? So let's have a look at some more stats. So looking at some more stats now, how students use AI cross learning. So here are the top 5 ways. This is from the Harvard Graduate School of Education. 53% are just getting information, 51% brainstorming ideas, 31% creating images, 16% creating sound or music, and 15% writing code. So it's interesting to see how students are actually using AI across learning activities. Okay, so let's just have a look now. Well, teachers embrace AI, but training lags behind. And I've looked at so many research papers that have shown that there's a huge training gap when it comes to AI. And I think that's why I've got so many partnerships to do with AI at the moment. So the gap between AI adoption and PD in education, 60% of teachers have integrated AI into their teaching practices. 71% of teachers have received no AI training. Wow. And 83% use generative AI tools already. So we really need to be thinking about, trying to fill this gap and training teachers and also educating students about how to use AI. And this guide is about parents. So let's move on to parents. So what can parents do? I recommend a family media agreement. So it's co-constructed. You sit down with your children, it's collaborative, and parents and children, share about how they use devices, AI tools, and technology at home. And hopefully this establishes some clear guidelines and expectations for everyone. Now, why is it so important to have a family media agreement? Well, I know personally what it's like when you have family members over and they're on their phones during dinner. And that's something that, we don't want to encourage. We want to encourage a digital detox or no devices when we're actually trying to connect as a family. So why this matters, establishes clear boundaries, promotes responsible digital citizenship, reduces family conflicts, builds healthy tech habits, ensures technology supports well-being. So I can't stress the importance of a family media agreement. The key components are about, and this is co-created with the agreement with children, right? And parents, screen time limits, device-free zones and time. So I would say at dinner, we shouldn't be on our phones. We should be focusing on conversation, catching up for the day and connecting. Content guidelines, especially, depending on the age of your children. We know in Australia, if you're under 16, you're not supposed to be on any social media. Privacy and safety rules. So don't put, any data or personal data into any tools if you're a child. AI usage policies and consequences and accountability. there has to be some kind of consequence, but I don't want to necessarily go down the punishment route. I think it's better that you co-create as a parent with your child these media agreements and see what your child comes up with when, each of these, let's say, agreements or if any of these agreements are breached. Making it work. So involve all family members, keep it positive and collaborative, be really specific with the rules so that there's absolute clarity, make it visible, review and update regularly, stay consistent. So that's how we would actually co-create some family media agreements. So here are the actual little headings that a family can use. So these are some headings that might guide that family agreement. And then there's some resources as well, because there's so many organizations that are actually really promoting digital health. I know in Hong Kong, there's a great digital health resource that I'm going to share with you. But Common Sense Media has, great resources. Internet Matters, E-Safety Commission from Australia. They're just a small handful of family media resources. Now, here are some recommendations, and I think it's really important that we look at the age group and then we look at digital health. So ages 3 to 5, early childhood, very limited screen time. I think that, we shouldn't have 3 to 5 year olds on computers all day. In fact, I don't think anyone should be on a computer all day, but unfortunately in the corporate world, we're kind of connected and working off a device, but at least we can control it in early childhood. Parental supervision is required from 3 to 5. Approved content lists, educational only, basic online safety rules, and simple visual agreements. And then I have some kind of guidelines for early elementary, 5 to 8, supervised device use, device-free zones established, and building understanding of the rules. Then we're in upper elementary or in middle school. There is more independence with guidelines. There's a social media readiness discussion, depending on which country you're in. If you're in Australia, there is no social media, and for under 18, well, limited, let's say. We start really developing AI literacy, digital citizenship, building digital intelligence, and regularly checking in. And then ages high school, increased autonomy, but with some accountability and guardrails at the same time, focused on self-regulation and teaching critical thinking about technology, using any kind of technology, including an AI tool, with discernment and developing creativity and critical thinking, preparation for adult digital life, and collaborative rule setting. So, okay, so here are 7 tips, I think, about successful AI use at home. Make sure it's collaborative, positive, specific, consistent, regularly review it, flexible, and visible. So if you need to print it out in a common space. And then here are some key questions that you could use to start the conversation with your child. What devices and AI tools do we use most in our family? When does technology help us? When does it get in the way? So these are great conversation starters. I won't read all of them, but I'll put a link to the PDF in the comment section below. And then the final slide, what I want to finish off with is that we know that 86% of students are already using AI, making education and guidance more important than just banning it. And family agreements work, collaborative contracts build healthy habits and reduce conflicts. So, 1, discuss AI use expectations with students and with your children. And 2, create or update your family media agreement together. Okay, so there were just some ideas on the importance of having a family media agreement and having this co-constructed agreement between parents and children so that there isn't conflict and we keep it positive, specific, we keep it visible, and we want to involve everybody in the family so that all voices are honored and included in this family media agreement. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.